Hey everyone, welcome to a guide to Fire Emblem 6 Chapter 14, Arcadia, aka the desert map. This is the chapter that I think most people wanted for FE6 after the Chapter 7 one I made, and I get why, because this map is very daunting for blind players, but at the same time, I think this map is easier than Chapter 7 by several magnitudes if you have the right information and the right strategies in mind. So with that in mind, we're going to go give you an informed perspective on Chapter 14 and how you can beat it very easily. I think what makes this map so much easier is there's so many less enemies, and a lot of them are just not a threat at all if you know how their AI works or if you know where they are. Of course, the fog obscures this information from you very well, and the game itself is not going to tell you how the AI works, but if you do know, it becomes so much easier. Let's take a look at the whole map without fog for a minute before we dive into the actual strategies. So you can see that Roy starts where all the blue squares are. And there are red tiles near them, but those are reinforcements. Those don't come until turn 8, I want to say. So you want to be out of there before then, but that's easy to do. In fact, this chapter has a turn limit to get the Gaiden chapter, 25 turns, I believe, before the Gaiden expires. But if Roy just moves, like 2 move every turn through the desert, he'll make it to the Oasis eventually and then just seize in time. You don't even have to rescue drop him, I don't believe. And maybe you have to rescue drop him once at some point, but easy enough to do, right? The main threats, I think, are the mages that are coming for you initially. There's one on your right and one on at the top. And then there's a group of wyverns in the upper left and a group of wyverns in the bottom right. These are pretty easy to tackle if you know where they are. But of course, again, the fog obscures the information, so we have to do something about that. There's also Manakets that you might not see in the fog that can jump scare you, just come out of nowhere and kill your units. But they don't move until you get in their range. So if you can avoid their ranges, they don't really matter. They're just occupying space, basically. And of course, what we have to do is get the items from the desert. And that is interesting because there are 2 main ways to get those, and we'll go over that as we're playing. Let me go over my team first, so you know what we're dealing with right here. So in this map, I think another part that makes it very difficult is, of course, the desert sand limiting your movements, being unable to adjust to enemy positioning very well, because most units only have 2 moves. So for this map, I find that generally combat units with low move don't do a whole lot. They, sure, if you trained like Alan or Lance or Noah or, I don't know, Lot or Wade or Geese, it can be very tempting to just deploy them because you've been using them all game long. But I generally find that those units tend to kill maybe about 1 enemy per chapter for this entire chapter. So you might want to ditch them for someone like Ray or Saul for a chapter, just because they can move more and therefore do a lot more. Honestly, if you want to pick up items using the desert item trick, those units are just way more useful. But it depends. I can't give you an exact turn by turn like Chapter 7 because the units you can have at this point are very varied. So what I did is I made my team pretty minimalistic in the sense that I didn't really... I try to use most of the units that you would have at base level to kind of make this Iron Man friendly. But of course, you're going to have to adjust it a little bit to your own team. But I think almost any composition can beat this team. I think the most important unit for this chapter would be Milady, but since you only got her last chapter, most people should have her at this point. What I did with Milady is I just got her in chapter 13, instantly promoted her. That's all I did with her. No investments, no training, no stat boosters. If your Milady is any better than mine, she's going to do what I'm going to do with her with ease, so much easy. And that's kind of the recipe for most of my units. Gonzalez, level 10, and then promoted him. So if you went B route, instant promotion, this is kind of what you get. Sin, level 5, so gave him 5 levels, promoted him, that's it, that's all he's got. Of course, they are, I did roughly bring them to their average strength and speed just to make sure. Echidna, base level. Klein, base level. Rutger, I did train him a lot, but he's gonna kill 1 mage in this entire chapter for now, and he might end up killing the boss at the end. Also, probably worth noting, this Rutger was promoted at level 10, and he is average or below average in every stat. Saul got 1 level up. Ray insta-promoted him when he joined. Shanna isn't going to do anything combat-wise, but I did train her 5 levels. You can use Thea instead if you want to, it doesn't matter. And then a Thief, literally base level Chad. You probably might have some units killed in an Iron Man at this point, but you'll be able to replace them with someone else with the same purpose. I also didn't include Larum. Normally, I'm a fan of deploying your Dancer, and I think you should deploy your Dancer in this chapter. But I was like, Larum is an easy character to lose, especially when she's about to recruit Echidna, so why not just exclude her for this chapter, see if we can do it without it. So make it as easily doable as possible. And during the chapter, you'll see what these units do, and you'll be able to make adjustments accordingly. Hopefully. It's a strategy game. I can't give every step of every team composition, but hopefully you'll get the idea of what these units are supposed to do. So let's get into things. Right, so we'll start the chapter. And we get Cecilia and Sophia as well. Now, how we're going to do this depends on how we want to go about getting the items that are all around the desert. I overlaid them on the WOD over here. There are two ways you can do item grabbing. The first one is just to have a thief move to the tile and get the item. The other way is the desert item trick, which I'll demonstrate real quickly, but I'm not going to use it for this video. Because I think some people might be against it and they don't want to use it. So if I were to use the desert item trick, what I could do, for example, is say I want to get the... I'm pretty sure the talisman is right here. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I can reach the talisman on turn 1. So let me just do that. So the talisman is like in this area somewhere. So what we can do is reset the game. Could be a soft or hard reset, resume. And have Saul just like go here. I have to check the stat screen first and then have to go here. And there you go, you get the talisman. You can do that if you want to. I recommend this method. It's much easier than the thief method. But if you don't want to do that, you know, I get it. You want to use thieves, you want to be legit. Fair enough, let's do it legit. So we'll have Chad instead go over here. Use a torch. So we get more vision. That's a big tip in general. Use torches, use torch staff to get more vision in the desert. And now he's picked up that thing. I'm going to pick him up. And we'll end up going like over here to get the... What is it? The speed wing next turn? Just keep checking the item thing. Here we go. It's much faster if you use a mage or if you rescue drop Chat. Like I could have Saul go over and do this take drop, but there's actually not that many units that can have 5 move in the desert and do this take drop. So I'm going to assume I don't have one. I'm just going to use a single flyer with 7 move and Chat to pick up most of the items. Then over here, I want to take care of the wyvern problem. Again, reminder that the wyverns are lurking up here. Their AI works as follows. If they can reach you within 1 turn, they'll move and attack you. If they can reach you in 2 turns, they'll start moving too. So they will see if 2 turns of move will get them to you, just like the wyverns in chapter 7. And if they do, then they'll start moving, which you usually don't see in the fog. So it can be hard to see what's going on, but we know what's going to happen. So I'm going to move Gonzalez here. Again, this is not a very fast Gonzalez. He doesn't double anything because I promoted him so early. And that's okay. Yours might double or you might have a different unit, but it does have to be a unit that can take a couple of hits. I don't remember exactly how many he takes, but I think he takes on the Wyvern Lord. So it does have to be a unit with some like significant durability and like 3 move from this position, but you could probably delay this maneuver a little bit. And then I have 2 strong bow units, in this case Klein and Sin, move over here to help out. And Milady can actually help out over here too. Note that Milady and Gonzalez could both equip killer weapons and have way better performance. I'm going to be like try to be a little bit pessimistic and use iron weapons instead, just to show that there's some redundancy in the strategy. Now, Sophia, if you want to, you can use the desert item trick to pick up the silence. I think it's turn 1 or 2 that she can get it. Yeah, I think she can get it turn 1 if you want to, because you can see your starting position is within 5 tiles of where the silence staff can be gotten. But again, we're not using that, so we're going to just keep Sophia with the main team. Believe it or not, she actually does have a purpose that does not involve picking up the guiding ring, so we're going to keep her over here. And then we're going to have Kitna come over here, give Cecilia the torch staff, and we're also going to give Cecilia the barrier and restore staves. Again, this can be like almost any unit, Ray and Echidna, although Echidna is quite useful for a purpose you'll get into later. But she can be replaced by Rutger for the most part. What I just did there is trading items to Cecilia, which is something I really recommend because Cecilia's initial inventory is good, but she has C-rank staves, so we might as well make use of it. So we're going to go here and we're going to barrier up Echidna because she's going to be fighting some mages. If you don't have barrier, this is not necessary. You might like bring up pure water or something else. And we'll just start moving Roy 2 squares at a time. Move Rutger 3 squares at a time. And Saul. Here you go. Saul's mostly redundant for the strategy. He can be almost anyone. But a healer is nice. So there's a Wyvern. I see Milady even missed a hit. That should hopefully demonstrate my strategy being RNG proof-ish. Of course, I can't make a strategy where you miss every move and still come out on top, but you know, mostly. So I'm going to drop Chad over here, and this will also give us a bunch of vision. Now here, these wyverns are both weakened. They got hit once each, so we can see how our units perform and act accordingly. So Klein can kill with the silver bow, or you can maybe 2-shot him with the brave bow if Gonzalez missed. Sin can go to either square and like attack with an iron bow to kill this one, or you can kill this one with a stronger bow like the killer bow. Milady, I mean, we probably want Milady to go elsewhere, but she is available to use like an Iron Lance or a Kill Lance to get rid of this guy. Gonzalez is available to get a hit in. I gave him a Brave Axe in case you want to get 2 shots at something. So there are a lot of ways we can compensate for any misses that happen here. Let's say for now we use the Killer Bow to get rid of this guy. Reminder, you can buy killer weapons in this game. Previous chapter has a bunch of them in the shop. I think one of them is missing, but you can get that one in the A route. I think it's the Killer Axe. So let's say we use the Brave Bow for redundancy. And now Gonzalez can do whatever. And by whatever, I mean I actually kind of want to move him up right now. So we move him like 1 up. Keep the Iron Axe equipped. And Milady can go elsewhere. So we'll have her like go to the right. But first we have to take care of this mage. This is why we buried Echidna. So she can use the Killing Edge to 2-shot this guy. I'm sure other weapons could do the trick as well if you didn't buy killer weapons. But Killing Edge is higher accuracy and it can compensate for a miss with a crit. So we use that. And then if we want to, we can heal her. Pick up the boots here. There's going to be a turn later where Chad is available to pick up the boots if we really need to. But there's going to be so many units traveling through the boots tile that you'll probably pick it up just naturally. Like you can see right here, that it's a pretty big portion that most units have to go through with like 2 moves at a time. So you'll probably pick up the boots naturally anyway. But there's going to be a turn where Chad can get in there. We can heal a kit now. We can also move Cecilia like a little bit to the side here and use a torch just so we can see better what's going on. And then Milady can come over here and use a Vuln on herself while we wait. And then we'll just move the rest of the units up. Again, we kind of want to keep these units close to each other because that way we really reduce the chance of anything weird happening with them. Especially important is that Sophia, I guess we can heal here too, that Sophia is in range of someone with a Restore Staff. So I have Saul and Cecilia with the Restore Staff. You might only have Cecilia, so keep them close to each other. Because there's a Sleep Staff somewhere in the fog. Good job, Gonzalez. And if that guy can hit Sophia, he probably will because Sophia's lowest in the deployment order. This is not calculated, but it's fine because I can just heal Milady again. And there you go. Yeah, so Sophia and Cecilia are lowest in the deployment order. There's a Sleep guy and a Science guy, and they'll probably keep targeting those two. So it's nice to have another Restore user just in case Cecilia and Sophia are disabled in 1 turn. But for now, we don't have to worry about that. I have 3 healers deployed. You'll probably have at least 2, so I don't feel like healing and restoring both is too much to ask here. But if you have to leave Sophia asleep, I guess it's not the worst thing ever. Or, you know, Milady can heal herself. So Rutger, this is the one mage he's going to kill for now. And then Milady can start going over here and start killing these mercs. This is not required. Like, if your Milady somehow died, like in the arena or something, then you don't have to do this. But this gets started and everything. There is a bishop somewhere in the fog. I forgot where exactly, and I guess I can't know. So I guess we can play it safe and just go a little bit to the north here. But it is nice to have a kill lance on her, because as you can see, base promoted Milady can 2-shot these mercs, like, I think always. Even if not, you know, there's a pretty good chance she'll crit. So even if a merc like rolls really high on HP and defense, you can get around it this way. And your Milady probably leveled strength, like unlike mine, or maybe use some stat boosters. I do really recommend promoting Milady for this chapter, even if you're not completely done training her yet, because the extra move and the extra stats, regardless of level ups, makes so much of a difference. So now she can just be distracting these mercs for a while. You don't have to structure them with your other units. Echidna's going to go up here, but before we commit to that, let's make sure we don't get wrecked by wyverns here. I think we saw all wyverns, but there might be like 1 left, so I'm just going to play it safe here. Yeah, I forgot that Gonzalez already crit killed an enemy on enemy phase, but as you see, I have more than enough actions to get rid of 2 wyverns. Gonzalez is in the way of our bow units. What we can do is like go over here and use a hand axe. We don't have to use a hand axe or hit it at all. It's just something extra you can do, but just go over here. We have to be very careful that we don't move in range of the Manakete, so that's why we have to like be a little bit coy around it. So we can go here, we can use a brave bow, we can use a silver bow, we can use a long bow for like extra chances to hit this guy. So the demands for this like particular group are not super high, and these are not even units that are like particularly hard to get or train. I think there might be 1 wyvern left, but I'm not even sure. Anyway, Chad needs to go over here. I think this is where the line is. Yeah, you can see the cliff. It's like diagonal from the cliff where it starts this weakness square. So we're going to go here, pick it up. You can see how big of a difference it is that I have like a map available. If you consider that cheating, I personally don't consider it cheating. It's just like using information that the game obscures from you. Then But if you don't want to do that, I guess just memorize these moves. But if you're watching a guide, you probably don't even care about looking stuff up on the internet. I'm just trying to think, like, if someone wants to play this game blind, but they still want to do well, yeah, you're probably just using a guide. In some way, you're using a guide if you're watching this. I think you're going to be fine with this. So our next target is going to be the silence area. So we're going to go to the right. For the most part, there's no enemies left as far as I can tell. Because like, the one mage that started here, like this mage from right over starting point, he moved up. We killed him with Rutger. And the other one next to the mannequin in the bottom right, he doesn't move yet. And there's 2 mages at the top. So we should be clear with Shanna and Chad. So now we're going to restore Sophia again. Kitna could be healed. I guess we can just phone her. So we can restore here. And we can kill the priest, or we can hold off a little bit. We can like go here and Vaughn. Don't use the boots. And we'll just keep Sophia with the rest of the units. I do want to keep moving Roy though, so we'll just put Sophia like here for a minute as we move Roy up. And these mages are not, these mercs are not a threat to melee. There is a hero with a killing edge out there that can potentially like crit her for 15 damage or something. And there's the bishop that has a lightning and a mend that can do some serious damage to her. I believe he doesn't double that bishop either, so if he gets to like move in her range, it's kind of annoying. There's the mage. And the silence guy goes for Saul. That's fine. Okay, he's within 2 tiles of Cecilia. So we can solve that. I think this is the last sleep. I feel like I've restored like twice at this point. I'm not wrong. How many times did you restore? Once. What about you? None. Okay, so I guess this is only the 2nd sleep. Okay, well, the obvious threat here is the mage, so we're going to take him out first. I don't think I see any wyverns here. There you go. Kitna's wounded, but again, there's no enemies in range. Famous last words. Alright, so I'm going to move Roy up again. Let's drop Chad. And the tile we're going to drop him is a little specific. I think I'm going to drop him... Let me make sure I'm dropping him in the right tile. Yeah, okay. I'm going to drop him 1 right and 1 down from these bones over here. And there's a reason for that. And then Milady, I'm just going to keep her like around here because I don't want to proc the bishop from the fog. So I'm just going to like go here and use a kill Elvon. I could attack the merc, but he's going to suicide on enemy face, so why bother, right? And just move the rest of the group up. This priest is quote-unquote aggressive, but he only has a recover staff. We don't have to like worry about anything he does. We'll just restore Saul and Sophia. And this group is done with wyvern hunting, so now they can go to the upper left to start picking up the silver card. Goodbye. Yeah, that's good. I actually wanted her to get no stats, just to like be a show-off. Again, the crits here don't matter, but they're just to show that like whenever you crit, it's nice. You see that wyvern lord there? He also has 2 move AI. He's from that bottom right group of wyverns. And what that move with Chat did is it kind of separated him from his little group of unpromoted wyvern riders. And now we can pick him up separately. And that will make it easier to take on that group of wyverns. So we can see him in the fog here, thanks to Chad's torch staff. And we can get out in time safely. I'm going to move Rutger towards him. I think I shouldn't have moved him up, but I think we can still adjust to make it work here. Let's pick up the silent staff. And then the moment we pick him up, we're going to be losing vision on the wyvern, but we know roughly where he is. What we can do is like go all the way up here. And next time we can drop him to make sure that we're not getting wrecked. In fact, we can just, because we have an extra staff user, we can restore Sophia again. And I can use Cecilia to drop Chad just to make sure I don't make a silly mistake. And also to get the vision of the torch staff over here. There would be welcome. Here's the silence guy. He's almost done. And he's like approaching us too, so that's helpful. Oh, there's the bishop. Here he is. So I don't want to aggro him, but I think he's going to move him towards me anyway. So let's see if we can kill this hero. I guess technically that was a risk, because if I missed him and then he double crit me, enemy phase and then player phase, I would have died. So I guess if you want to be ultra safe, don't do that. This is an easy kill for Echidna. We can heal her with this extra staff user we have, but if not, Echidna's not doing anything, so we just like use a Vuln or Elixir next turn. And Roy moves up here. And these people are almost arriving at where the silver card is, because the silver card is where the bones are in the upper left, where the wyverns used to be. I think the second group of mercs aggroed. There's the last silence user consumed. Okay, so here we need to maneuver around the wyvern and the bishop. Again, if we want to be ultra safe, we can move Milady out of range of the bishop and the wyvern, and have the wyvern attack Rutger like right here. You can use the Worm Slayer, Lance Reaver, Durandal, all these will kill the wyvern. I'm just going to move in a way that makes sure that the wyvern does not wreck me. And I guess what we can do is like equip a javelin as the bishop approaches us, and give ourselves as many chances as possible to kill him. Stay here. Stay here. None of these units really want to fight a bishop or a hero for that matter. Besides Echidna and Milady. Silence missed, so I don't have to restore, but if I wanted to restore I could by using her. But I can't, so I'll just use like a torch instead. And just going to be very careful about Chad's move, but he looks like he's completely safe no matter where he goes. This is when you can pick up the boots, because the boots are here. Like a 3 high thing, so like, I think it literally just stay here. We find the boots, but we already found them, so let's move away with Saul and pick up Chad. You could, if you really wanted, you could move him to here to pick up the silver card guaranteed, but I think it's better to move him to the right, where we can pick up the silver blade and the warp last thing. So we can now move into the area. Again, double check for the item area. It's over here, it's pretty big, so we can't miss it, so just go here. Go here. And here. I think this is Rutger using the Lance Reaver. Oh, hello. Didn't see that, but Trained Shanna survives, I guess. Whoops, might be. Obviously should have put her somewhere else, but whoopsie daisy. It's not a mecha guy without at least one mistake in there, right? So just try to kill this guy with the Killing Edge. If we don't crit, we can use Milady to finish. We'll put her here so she's in range of the Merc as well. I guess missing here is a slight risk. But in that case, we just move people away from the bishop, I guess. But yeah, now they're completely fine. We can heal Echidna. Heal this wyvern. In this case, using the Durandal, but I'm pretty sure the Worm Slayer would have killed as well. And yeah, that's basically all you need to do to trivialize the map. What's going to happen from here is we have a slow trudge towards the oasis, but I think the hardest part of the map is basically over. The next hardest part, I guess, is fighting 3 wyverns that can come out of the fog. But what we can do is like drop Chad to see where they are. And if we don't see them yet, they're probably not in our range. And then you can just use the fog vision Chad gives you to safely move through here. There's only like a couple mercs left here and a hero maybe that Milady can kill by herself. If a couple wyverns fly up, you can use her to take them out. And then there's one concern left, which is the warp staff and the silver blade in the bottom right. I didn't get those, but that's like a long ways away. So the silver blade is guarded by a Manakete, and so is the warp staff. If you're having trouble fighting the enemies that guard these items, what you can do is pick them up on the last turn right before you seize. And that way you don't have to deal with the enemies. But you're probably going to have to deal with the wyverns no matter what. But I don't think picking up the warp staff is particularly difficult, as long as you know where they are and as long as you kill the wyverns. Once you've done that, it's pretty easy to find a safe square, as long as you use Fog of War Vision to see the way through. But I think the most important part for this was like the safe way to kill the wyverns that started here and getting all the items without, you know, getting a unit involved. And the reason we went for those items first is because now we outspec the reinforcements. And it's only turn 70, reinforcements haven't even appeared yet. And hopefully this group can take on those reinforcements. It's a bunch of brigands and 2 berserkers. What I should have done is give Shin an iron sword, so he could just fight reinforcements like for almost eternity. The reinforcements have a Devil Axe berserker and a Halberd berserker. The Halberd's not effective on Shin, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But you can also like divert Rutger backwards to deal with them. Or a kidnap can potentially do it, although a kidnap probably faces like a chance of death if she takes them like turn after turn after turn. But it is nice to have someone occupy them, because what I've had happen before with the bandits from the bottom left is that they just run around in the fog without me knowing where they are, and suddenly like one pops up over here next to Roy. This has happened to me at least twice, so that's something you want to avoid. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a better perspective of Chapter 14, literally, because the vision, I think, makes a big difference. Knowing where the enemies are and being able to send the right units to the right places makes all the difference. I totally understand if people have trouble with this map blind, because you can't see all these things, so you have to know beforehand. So hopefully this guide gives you a better way of dealing with that than blindly stumbling through the fog. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. Let me know if there's any other particular chapters, FE6 or otherwise, that you want me to do. And we'll see you next time. Bye!